Let's grow something spectacular together. Send me your info to info@cmpradio.net. We're looking for content creators, videographers, everything, man. Let's grow something special right here. Homegrown. Chester, Pennsylvania. Let's go. Let's get it down, man. It's your boy, Uncle P, reminding you, man. cmpradio.net. Cultivating mature positivity.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Mental Health Talk with yours truly. I am Christina McIntyre. I hope everyone had the best week that they could, and whatever happened yesterday, let's leave it in yesterday and focus on now and our future. I want to give a shout out to my sponsor, Flawless Tires. You can find them at 1195 Chester Pike in Eddystone. Make sure you go pay them a visit. Make sure you get your car right back on the road. So this week, I wanted to talk a little bit about depression, right, as it relates to mental health illness. Depression is a real prevalent, excuse me, I can't pronounce, prevalent illness amongst those that suffer from mental health issues. 1 in 5 adults suffer from mental health issues each year. Also, 1 in 5 adults suffer from depression. So, out of that category, that's how many people. About 18.5% of that mental health, illnesses suffer from depression each year. Depression is categorized as symptoms that affect how you think, feel, and handle every day-to-day activities. At some point in our lives, we're going to go through things that upset us and it keeps us sad. But when those issues start affecting how we interact on a day-to-day basis, that's when we have to go, seek professional help, get diagnosed by a doctor, go to therapy to see what we can do to get us back on track. So there are 5 different types of depression, right? The first one is persistent depressive disorder. That is a depressed mood that lasts for at least 2 years. So some people can go through different periods of depression, but this one you have to have it for at least 2 years. Postpartum depression, we all heard of that, is after a woman, or even before, if a woman is pregnant and after she conceives or has the baby, she can go into a deep depression. Now, there are baby blues, but when it starts to affect how you think and feel, and then you feel like maybe you're not a good enough mother or you can't get this right, then you probably need to talk to someone to help you get on track. Having a child is, it's not easy, especially if you're first time mother. I myself suffered from postpartum depression, and I suffered for a little bit because I kept it hidden. I didn't let no one know what was going on with me. I thought that some of these thoughts that I was having, that I was a bad mother. But it's okay, right? It's okay to have thoughts. It's okay to feel overwhelmed, especially when you're a first-time mom, because it's a lot to take on, right? You're used to being the single person, and now you have a responsibility to take care of, and it can be overwhelming. That's why there are people there, certain services they do offer to come out and check on you to make sure that you're okay, to help you get used to the baby and such. So if you're feeling any type of way, especially during or after you have a baby, please talk to your doctor so that you can get the help that you need, so you could get yourself together and get back on track so you can thrive and become the best mother that you can be. About 10 to 15% of women do suffer from postpartum depression. They have another one called psychotic depression, and that occurs when a person has depression and psychosis at the same time. It's a fixated belief. It's hearing and seeing things, so hallucinations, and they have depressive themes. So a lot of guilt, a lot of shame. So if you have these symptoms coupled with that, you most likely will suffer from psychotic depression. Again, you have to get evaluated in order to get properly diagnosed. 6.7% suffer from psychotic depression each year. And then they have something called seasonal affective disorder. Now, this is a depression that occurs during the seasons change, such as wintertime. A lot of people suffer from the winter blues, right? Because the sun is not out, and we get our nourishment from the sun. So lack of sun causes us to feel sad. Now that it is springtime, a lot of people do feel better. The sun is shining bright. You get energy from the sun. It just feels good outside. And so it's important to pay attention to these symptoms. Now, if you do experience the seasonal disorder, but it starts to come over to the other seasons or is lasting longer than maybe it typically should, you should definitely go get properly diagnosed. And then the last one is bipolar disorder. Bipolar is an illness by itself, but a lot of times when you do have bipolar disorder, you also suffer from depression. A person with bipolar disorder have periods of high elevated mood and then low elevated mood. About 2.8% of people suffer from bipolar depression. And these are some of the signs. I'm going to talk about some of the signs and symptoms that you should look out for when you do suffer from depression. So if you have a lot of these or any of these, some people will have maybe one or two symptoms, and then some people will have 5, 6, 10 symptoms. So depression looks different for everyone. And that's why you should go to the doctor and see. And you can have a symptom that is not depression. Depression has to be over an extended period of time, right? A period at least of 2 weeks of sadness, and you'll find yourself retracting back. Like maybe you isolate yourself, maybe you're not doing things that you used to do. So paying attention to how your behavior was and is now is important so that you can get properly diagnosed. If you have persistent sadness or that empty feeling, you feel hopeless, you're pessimistic, you're very irritable, you feel guilt, you're worthless, you have decreased energy, or you feel tired all the time, difficulty in concentrating, remembering, thinking, maybe you have trouble sleeping, falling asleep and staying asleep, your appetite, maybe you lost a lot of weight, maybe you gained a lot of weight, because sometimes when you are depressed, you will eat a lot. I know that if I'm going through a really rough time, I'm going to go for the snacks, right? And so over time, if that becomes a habit and you notice yourself starting to gain weight from that bad habit, maybe it's time to sit down with yourself and be honest with yourself and say, okay, maybe I need help. Maybe I need to get somebody to help me refocus. And again, not everyone will have all of these. It's just some of them, if they're persistent for 2 weeks, you definitely need to get checked out. And it's a lot of risk factors that go into having depression. You have a history, a family history of depression, a lot of major life changes, trauma or stress. A lot of trauma can cause depression and stress, like day-to-day activities. If you're constantly busy, you feel like you don't have a break, you get overwhelmed, and you just get tired. So it's important, if you do suffer from depression, to take time for self-care. And self-care looks different for everyone. Self-care could be a nice walk outside, since it's nice outside, to get out more. Self-care can be a bubble bath. Self-care can be a glass of wine. Self-care can be a slice of cake. It depends on what works for you, but make sure you take time out for yourself. It's important to do things for everyone else, and you have a life to run, but it's important to give yourself the care that you need so that you can fight this disorder. And certain physical illnesses and medications can cause depression. So it's important to look at everything overall. If you know that certain medications cause depression, or you started taking something and you don't feel the same, talk to your doctor. Most likely, probably stop taking that medication. Sometimes we have to try different things to see what would work. I know from years ago, I was on this one medication. It was for a tooth issue, and after a few days of taking it, I started having suicide thoughts, and I'm like, "Whoa, hold up!" I'm, being in that headspace. So I had to call the doctor, and of course, they acted like it was nothing, that I was crazy, but I wasn't feeling the same. So you know yourself, you know your body, you know what's can work for you. If you are taking something and it doesn't feel right, definitely speak to your doctor. Don't feel ashamed, because you want to find what works for you and works best for you. Everything doesn't work for everyone, and so it's important to try new things and try different things. And then certain illnesses, like if you suffer from PTSD, if you suffer from rape, if you suffer from a lot of definitely different traumas, it can cause depression. And it's important to pay attention to yourself. Things happen, but you don't have to suffer alone. There are people out there that are willing to help you, and you have to push yourself to go get the help that you need. Depression is one of them things that it keeps you in this down state, right? Some days you do have great days, some days you have bad days, and it's important to let those bad days be so far few. There are different types of things that you can do in order to heal depression. They have medications, like I stated. They have things called psychotherapy, which is talk therapy. You're just talking out your issues, trying to come up with a plan, and find something that works best for your life, right? So that you can live your life to the fullest and then enjoy your life, and not just stuck in a routine set of doing things. They have brain stimulation therapies, such as electroshock therapy. And I know a lot of people think like electric shock, it's dangerous, but they have things now, especially nowadays, that is not as severe as they used to be in the past. And these are tips that you can do to help yourself if you suffer from depression. Try to be active and exercise, right? Exercise is important, again, not just for our physical, but our mind. I know when I'm stressed, I like to exercise. I like to take a nice walk. I try to exercise every day. And after that workout, I feel a surge of energy. So it's important to pay attention to your body, eat properly, like feed our body nutritious foods. Our bodies are a reflection of what we put in it. Try not to isolate yourself. Allow others to help you. Be open to speaking about your depression with your supportive group, right? You don't have to hide it, especially I know the depression can cause you to make yourself isolated. I know I used to do a lot of times. I used to not answer my phone. I used to try to stay busy. Right, when you're depressed, you get in that I need to stay busy mode, so you don't have to sit down with all the thoughts that's in your head or the feelings. But after some time, you're gonna get tired. So be open to sharing your experience with other people. Your mood will improve, but it's going to be a gradual thing, right? Suffering most of the time is like a long-term thing, right? Depression can start in childhood, but most likely adults. So it's going to take time for you to get to the point of some normalcy. So be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself, because some certain things happen that you couldn't prevent it. Like if depression runs in your family and it's genetic, there's nothing that you can do to prevent it, but there's are plans that you can do so that you can live that life that you need. And so some people have what they call high functioning depression and then regular depression, right? Like, so high functioning depression would be, you get up every day, you go to work, you take care of your house, you do things that you have to do in order to continue to live, to thrive, especially if you have children to take care of, if you have a job to tend to. But you still feel the sadness, this emptiness inside. You doing things because you have to, not necessarily you want to. And, a deep-seated depression looks like, I don't want to get out the bed, so I'm not getting out the bed today. I'm going to do minimum stuff. Like, I may not take a shower. I belong to a lot of different groups, and some people be like, "Oh, you can't take a shower." No, people with severe depression can't get out of the bed. Like they want to. It's just something inside of them is telling them that that is where they need to stay. So they may go days, sometimes weeks without a shower. It's just exerting so much energy just to do the basic day-to-day things. And it's hard to be in that space and then trying to pull yourself out, because when your mind is in a depressed state, you don't see no way out. That's your life. That's how you see it. And then for too long, if you do stay in that state, suicide can be an easy solution for you. You feel like that is the only solution and your way out. So some people that are depressed, if they don't get help, do commit suicide. There is a suicide hotline if you want to, if you're feeling like you are at that point where you have no other options. The number is 1-800-273-8255, or you can visit them online, suicidepreventionlifeline.org. You don't have to suffer in silence. Sometimes we just need someone to talk to listen to us. So if you're suffering, find a group of people that you can share your life with, that will listen and understand and then offer you solutions. You have to be open to receiving help if you want it, right? If you're tired of being in that stuck state. Depression doesn't feel good. A few years ago, every now and then I still go into bouts of depression, but it's so much better. A few years ago, I was what they call a high function depressive, right? I would go to work because I had to. I had bills to take care of, so I had no choice. I would do the bare minimum, like I had to take care of my son, so I would feed him dinner, and I would do the things that I was supposed to do and laundry and stuff, but I was still sad. I used to come home every night. I would sit on my phone until dinner, play games, and just be in a down spot. And it was a lot of things that contributed that. I was in an abusive relationship. I didn't love myself enough. Some things happened. I wasn't eating right. I wasn't sleeping, and I just felt overall like crap. And so it took something to jump me out of it. I started therapy. I started looking at life a little bit different. You accept responsibilities, you hold yourself accountable, and not being kind to yourself, not telling yourself that every day is not going to be the same, but you can try the best in every day, right? Give what you can in that day and don't beat yourself up. We're not going to have great days every day. We can try to have the best day that we can, because every day is not the same. So definitely be kind to yourself. Um, let's see where I'm at. So here goes um some misconceptions that people have with people that suffer from depression. They said we're constantly faking it. You have the imposter syndrome. Like you're not really going through it. You just want the sympathy and empathy from people. People don't want to be depressed, right? Depression is not fun. It keeps you in a mental space that prevents you from doing a lot of things that you enjoy. Like it prevents you from going outside. It prevents you from being clean. It prevents sometimes you may not want to even clean your house, even though you see a pile of laundry piling up or the floor needs to be vacuumed. You just can't do it. So no one wants to stay in the state of mind. We all want to enjoy our life, and so it's people that's looking at us like, no, you need to just get up and basically suck it up. It's not that simple, right? It's like having a broken arm. It takes time to heal. And so with depression, it'll take time to get to that point that we don't feel like we're just getting day by day, right? It's not a routine thing. Some people, we have to prove that we're struggling to get help. If someone comes to you and be like, they're depressed, right? And people like, well, prove it then. How do you prove to someone that you're depressed? You can't. It's an internal thing. It's our thought process. And we verbalize it, but people still don't understand. They don't get it. So it's hard to understand if you're not in it, if you never suffer from it. And so if you have people that's coming to you and be like, look, I feel depressed. I don't know what to do. Be open. Give good advice. But if it's beyond your scope, point them in the direction they need. They may need therapy. Sometimes we can't do things on our own, and that's okay. That's why, there are so many people that are in the field that they're in, because they can help people like us. good days are basically normal. So our good days, which can be some people's bad days, are just normal. We're getting through it. We made it through. But then the bad days are crappy days, right? That's when you don't want to get out of bed. And it's been a week and you need to take that shower, but you just don't feel like it, so you just roll over. You may not eat, though. When you suffer from depression, sometimes you don't eat or you overeat because that what makes you feel good. I don't know if anyone ever watched like the 600-pound life. Like those people, they are really big, but you know, a lot of their stories, they suffer from depression, they suffer from mental health issues, and it caused them. Food was their comfort, right? A lot of people, when they're depressed, they do a lot of things. Some people drink excessively when they are depressed. Some people do drugs because they are depressed. So we should never judge people because they are suffering. We should get them help or offer the what we can do to help them out in that situation. Again, like I said, some people just need someone to talk to. 21% of people that have a substance abuse disorder do suffer from depression. So keep in mind, some people, yeah, we try things, right? People try drugs and, you know, just for the fun of it, but a lot of people are suffering. A lot of people that have been raped when they were a child suffer from depression, so they use external things to make them happy, right? With drugs, with alcohol, excessive sex. Like, it's a lot of factors that contribute to that. So, not knowing someone's story, we should never judge them because they're going through enough already. All they want is for someone to come take the pain away. And so, for them, you know, the food and the drugs and the alcohol, that's their only relief. And so, they tend to hold on to that until something else is better. Living with high functioning depression is exhausting. It is. So you get up and you go day by day, and you really don't want to, right? All you want to do is hide under the covers, and some people do. They never come outside. But for those that do have to work because they have to put a roof over their head, they have bills to pay, they have children to take care of, it's exhausting because all you want to do is just go home and sit, but you can't. And so those thoughts, and when you do find time to sit down, those thoughts just start coming and you feel worse. Anything can be a trigger, something to happen, someone can say something, and then you start internalizing it and you start going over it in your head over and over again to the point where it's driving you crazy. And now you're feeling really sad and you're feeling ashamed and you're talking to yourself, well, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Maybe I shouldn't do this. Oh, I'm not worthy or I'm not good enough. And those thoughts, they take power over you and you stay stuck in that mindset. And it's hard to get out of. Like, depression is one of them things you have to fight at it. Any mental illness, you have to fight at it every day, right? You have to tell yourself that you do matter every day, even if you don't feel it. Over time, our cells in our body, they read from us, right? They sense what's wrong. So if you're constantly sending, you know, those negative vibes into your body, your cells will listen and it'll keep you in that state. It takes time to get to the point where you do believe in it, but saying things over time, believe in them, knowing that you matter, it definitely works, but you have to work at it, right? You have to be consistent in your thought process. You have to be consistent in your behavior. And sometimes it takes change in what you're doing so that you can live the best life that you can. If you're hanging certain places, if you're being with certain people, if you're doing certain things that's causing you to be depressed, you have to change your behavior pattern, right? A lot of us, we're so used to being stuck in our depression, it's hard to see any way out of it. But it is a way out of it. You just have to put a plan in motion. Sometimes that's doing things different. Sometimes you have to change not who you are, but you have to change in order to become who you need to be for yourself. Depression is not fun. And I urge you to get help if you feel like you are suffering from depression. Even if you feel like, oh, I'm not depressed, I'm just sad. If it's gone over 2 weeks and you find yourself in a very sad state, your family is noticing it, your friends is noticing it, you're just agitated all the time, and you're trying to find your own way. Sometimes it takes going to find an external source to help you. For me, I use holistic healing as a way to combat my mental illness, and I'm going to offer that to you as well. So, About a couple months ago, I was talking about the chakra healing systems. And so when our chakras, which are energies in our body, we have seven of them, seven main ones. When they're out of balance, they can cause real life illnesses. They can resemble mental health issues. And so for me, suffering from depression, reading that my sacral, which is the second chakra, it's located below the navel, it's out of balance. And so it's responsible for creativity, sexuality, and expression. So I need to do something that's going to help balance that. And creativity is a lot of different things. It's baking, it's writing, it's dancing, anything to get your blood flowing. And sexuality, being comfortable with yourself, knowing what you want and what you need can definitely improve that chakra. So your sacral chakra is out of balance. It can cause depression. Also, your crown chakra, which is your seventh chakra, is located at the top of your head. That is responsible for higher consciousness, sacred wisdom. So when it is lacking, right, when you feel like you don't know what to do, you have no life purpose, you feel out of balance, you need to balance that crown chakra. And the way to do that is through meditation, right? Learning, constantly learning, gaining wisdom, doing things that is going to be conducive to your growth. It's a lot of different ways to heal from mental health illnesses. Also, it's mainly depression, right? You have to find what works for you. Everything doesn't work for everyone. You can go to church. A lot of people use church and religion as a way to heal. People go to therapy as a way to heal. People take medication as a way to heal. I offer the holistic approach because I don't want to take medication. If it ever gets to the point where I needed it, then I would have to sit down with myself and say, hey, this isn't working. Let me try something different. It takes a lot no matter what path you choose. Like the holistic approach, it's a lot. You have to ask yourself questions constantly. Why am I feeling this way? What can I do to improve my, whole mindset? How can I get myself out of this? It's a day-to-day battle with those that are suffering from mental health issues. But you're worth the fight. You got to tell yourself you're worth the fight every single day, no matter where you're at. Because you do have a right to live. You are here for a reason. You have purpose. And the only way that purpose is going to be fulfilled if you heal from the inside. And depression is all internal. You can't see it. You can smile. People smile every day, and you don't know that they're suffering immensely on the inside. And so we have to find a way. There are options. Don't give up on yourself. Don't tell yourself there's no options. There's a whole bunch of options. You have to pick one, and you have to be ready. Again, you have to be ready and willing to put yourself out there and say, I need help. A lot of people, it's hard to say that they need help because they feel like people are out to get them, but that's not the case. You may have to find a different therapist. You might have to go through a few different ones until you find one that fits you. But don't give up on yourself. I'm urging you, don't fight for yourself every day. You definitely matter. You have purpose. You have a reason to be here, and you just got to get up every day. Push yourself a little harder every day. Start citing mantras every day. When I start feeling out of myself, I have a mantra that I say every day. I say, I control my thoughts, feelings, and emotions. It's all about me. And so when I'm going through my periods of sadness or depression, and then I look over in my life and then I see what I've accomplished, a lot of times we're depressed because we are comparing ourselves to others. Never compare yourself to others, right? Everyone has their own story. So you create your reality that you want to live in. And I want you to create a reality that you can thrive in, right? To fight this. We have mental health illness, but it doesn't have us. It doesn't define who we are, but you have to start at some point. You have to do it. You got to do that work behind you, and I guarantee you will be people in your corner that are fighting and rooting for you to become the best that you can, but you have to know that you matter and you worth it. Even if you have a little bit of faith, that's more than enough. You got to push yourself to get the life that you want and you need. And that is about sums it for this week. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. I appreciate you very much for giving me your time. Time is something that we can't get back. I have a website that you can go to that I talk about, the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual aspects of ourselves. This is to help unveil our true identity. It's www.becomeyourc.com. becomeyoursc.com. You can follow me on Instagram, Become Your C. I share poetry on there mainly. Also, my Facebook page. I did change it to kind of condense the name, so now it's BYC, Become Your C, on Facebook. Also, if you're interested, I do sell chakra jewelry. I sell chakra necklaces and bracelets to help you on that spiritual journey as well, because we are physical beings, but we're also spiritual beings as well. And I believe that when we heal internally, we can manifest everything that we want and we need. Again, shout out to my sponsor, Flawless Tires, 1195 Chester Pike. Make sure you go hit them out. Again, enjoy the rest of your day, and make sure that if you need help, you go out there and get it. Fall in love with yourself so the world can fall in love with you. Thank you.